The Jenna Lyons era at jcrew comes to an end. Has the great fashion experiment at jcrew come to an end? On Monday, the downward spiral of the company that catapulted to trend-setting prominence on the back of Michelle Obama claimed its highest-profile head with the news that Jenna Lyons, officially president and executive creative director of the brand, and unofficially its public face, would be leaving. The parting was a mutual decision by Miss Lyons and Millard S. Drexler, the jcrew chairman and chief executive. She will continue as a creative advisor to the company until her contract runs out in December, but will not be officially replaced. Instead, Somsak Sikaun Muong, head of women's design, will become chief design officer, with responsibility for women's wear, men's wear and children's wear, crew cuts. Unlike Miss Lyons, however, he will not oversee brand image, store design or marketing. He and other creative teams will report directly to Mr. Drexler. In other words, there isn't going to be one primary design vision in charge of all the aesthetic aspects of the brand. Mr. Drexler has talked about a return to core principles at jcrew, which may include a return to a more anonymous design team, as Mr. Sikaun Muong has so far remained resolutely in the background. That doesn't really sound like a big deal, until you start thinking about its implications, especially when it comes to the accessible, mass-market end of the spectrum. After all, many would say it's about time that Ms. Lyons left. jcrew has been battling a 2-year sales slump and is carrying a debt load of $2 billion. Some of which will become current in 2018, prompting heightened speculation from investment analysts and news outlets of a possible bankruptcy filing. Same-store sales, purchases in stores that have been open more than a year, a gauge that eliminates the effect of new store openings on sales tallies, have fallen in 11 of the past 12 quarters. Last year, jcrew shut its bridal business. And last month, the company, which is backed by the private equity firms TPG Capital and Leonard Green & Partners, reported that revenue fell 2%, to $695 million, during the 3 months to January 28. Something isn't working. Whispers about the need for design change at the brand began in 2015, when Tom Mora, head of women's design, was fired and Mr. Sikaun Muong was moved up from his design role at Madewell, the hipper, younger, and growing brand under the jcrew umbrella. Yet for most consumer brands, of which jcrew is one, the designer is almost beside the point, a leader whose name most consumers never know. Does the Gap have a creative face? LL Bean? Target? And Taylor? Theory? Rather, it's the merchant who matters. But jcrew was different. The company achieved its initial turnaround in part by taking the tools of high fashion and applying them to the mass market. Including, especially, making the designer the embodiment of the brand as a shortcut to authenticity and attitude.